So every year as part of a Ramadan tradition, one of the things that I participate in is a program called Visionaire. In fact, this very channel came out as a result of the exercises that I did on there. And part of this whole thing is about getting clear on what it is that you want. Now, I've been doing this program since I think 2012 or 2013. Every year, sometimes it'd be twice a year. So anyway, we're gonna get on a Facebook Live, and on this Facebook Live, I'm gonna be trying to help with a group of people, help other people get some clarity in terms of their health and wellness and their fitness, regarding how to get more clarity in that space. So if that's something that you would find of value, stay tuned. Let's get started with the interview.
Our awesome visionary mentors kind of stepping in and sharing their dream dua manifestations. Mashallah, I know Salma's been stepping in with career, and she's been like sharing pics to use, which have been super inspiring. Lisana's been, mashallah, doing her marriage thing. Alhamdulillah, for all the single folks out there who just need that inspiration. And Isra, mashallah, has been inspiring us with her family duas, and we've been getting a taste of the way she is in her mothering style and family. And so we want to pick her brain for that. And then Bilal, mashallah, he's always been around in Visionaire for health, and he's super inspiring that way. So we're going to pick his brain on that. And I'm going to touch on travel, inshallah, and relationships, because I am a relationship coach. So inshallah, I'm going to try to help out for anyone who is married and wants to strengthen that area and other inshallah aspects. But the goal is that you guys are going to ask the questions. And if we find that there's something that kind of inspires us and comes up, we're just going to, one of the mentors, anyone's going to step in, inshallah, and share their area. So let's see what we've got. We've got quite a few of you guys on. Walaikum assalam. All right, so we have a health one, Bilal. So, let's, someone's saying, how do you make dua for good health and afia of the family more tangible and concrete? So it's not just for them, but it's for their whole family. They want a healthy family.
Sure. I mean, it goes back to the same thing with the wealth issue, right? Like, you gotta get clear on, what wealth looks like to you. For one person, wealth could be, living in a small place, but, having access to the outdoors. For another person, be a big house. So it's a question of what is it to you? You talk about health and afia, protection against pain and suffering and sickness and things like that, right? So, I mean, in your understanding, what does that look like? A place to start about dua is what's causing you pain, and you can make dua to alleviate that specific pain. But at the same time, it's also a question of on the positive sense, and you can make two duas out of this. One is to end the pain, and the other dua is the specific thing that you want to go toward. From my perspective, right, part of it is having the ability to move, having the ability to walk, living in a place that the environment is something that encourages activity. But that's for me, right? The question is, what is that for you?
Thing is, people come with this question, but there's so many different angles that they're coming from. Do you have a chronic illness? Is one of your children in a wheelchair? What are you trying to achieve? What do you want to see your family doing? Take a picture of it. That's what you ask for. And don't worry about the process right now. We're just focusing on that moment you want to experience with your family. What does it mean to be healthy as a family to you, right? Like Bilal was saying, it really is your perspective. What do you want to see, feel, smell, whatever it is? I mean, where are you coming from, right? I dealt with a lot of chronic illnesses in the group that I'm in, because I come from that background too. And it's different, but just put yourself outside. I think this is important for all of them, because a lot of people come from a place of pain. Yeah. So put yourself outside of your circumstance. And if that didn't exist, what would it look like to you? And that's where you can start getting concrete, because if you're thinking from the inside of the hole that you're in, it's really hard to think, outside and get bigger and get inspired.
To remove those limitations that maybe are actually there, very present, but don't let them limit your dua capability. Isra, did you want to add anything to that? Have you had a dua with health and family that you wanted to share?
Yeah, I mean, before we moved to Spain, we were living in Boston, and pretty much our life, which a lot of everybody in America will understand this. You go from the house to the car, or no, not even the car. You go from the house into the garage. So you don't even go outside, into the car, and then you drive down to the closest parking spot you can get to at Target or whatever store. Your walking is considered like the periphery of Target, and then you get back in your car and you head home. And so I realized, I'm a health practitioner, by the way, I'm a nurse practitioner. And I'm sitting here telling my patients to get healthy, exercise, and do all this. And I'm looking at me and my family like, this is not good. This is not healthy. We are inside all the time. And all I asked, and my dua, which again, Spain, I guess, was part of that answer to my health dua, was that I want us to all walk as a family. That's all I wanted. At that point, I was like, we just need to walk, especially living in a big city in Boston and all of that. We never walked even together. We live on top of a hill, and I'm talking a pretty high hill, no cars. We don't have a car. Me and my husband lug our 5 kg of potatoes up this hill. My kids come with me. They used to complain at the beginning because they never used to walk before. And now everybody, this is like our norm. So again, it comes back to that how, you know, if I say this, how is that going to happen? I never knew it would take this kind of big wake up call for us to say, okay, yeah, we did get healthy. We don't have a car. We do walk everywhere. We're a lot different now as a family. So you want the good health? Great. Just make dua for it and just see where it leads. Be prepared.
I feel like that one dream dua for you, mashallah, like just poured into so many other beautiful blessings and aspects that has enhanced your family life, your relationship, right?
Everything. I can say this one move was the answer to probably every 2018 Visionaire dua that I had. Subhanallah. So it's, you know, that's something I could never have imagined for myself. And somehow it ticked every single box. Allah was like, okay, easy. You go there, and all of this that you're asking for, the deen for my kids, you know, we got closer now. We were able to focus more on our faith. We live very close to a masjid, the beautiful masjid. So we walk there. It did answer everything. So just be open to what will come when you ask for all of that. Yeah.
I love that. And you know, I did that live, you guys, with for my Hajj dua with you, and I was talking to the details. It's not necessarily adding details to your dua, but it's like, it's just saying, open your heart, and at the same time, think about the details and get excited about it. Like, it should be, inshallah, a means for you to just be like, you know, this, it's not just about health. It's not just about career. This is going to be an opportunity, a means for me to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in like incredible ways I've never imagined. So be open, inshallah, to that reality that very much, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will answer, inshallah. So we have
to this one.
Yeah, please.
So between 2017 and 18, I went on quite a new health track, and I gave myself a target to lose a stone in weight. I actually ended up losing 2 stones in weight, which is approximately 12 kg. And so when I made dua, I really needed help. I just couldn't do it on my own. I was struggling. I wasn't doing very well with my fitness or my diet. So I asked Allah to help me, and in particularly help me find someone. And I randomly found a personal trainer. I saw his poster posted somewhere, I took the number. And this personal trainer actually has brought many blessings into my life, and he got me into areas of fitness that I never thought I'd get into. And so one of the areas is actually kickboxing. I'm really a non-violent person, but he got me into kickboxing, and it's amazing. Like, I absolutely love it.
Some of the most best martial artists are the most non-violent people.
Yeah. So, you know, it actually became more than the fitness thing for me in the end, because it became a sport that I started to really enjoy. And my trainer would be like, hey, you should go professional with this. And I was like, no, I don't want to get hit in the face. But I made dua for someone, you know, for someone to help me. And this is the person who came in and helped me and achieve those fitness goals. So I know a few people have mentioned around the weight one. So yeah, ask Allah to help you. Like,
by the way, if you want to go into sport and competition and don't want to get hit in the face, there's judo and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu is a bit too hands-on for my liking. I also like kickboxing because of the kind of challenge it presents to me mentally and physically, and also because it's a good form of energy release. So I got more out of it than the weight loss.
Something very important there is the fact that regardless of whether it's fitness or any of these topics, and when you're making and you're composing your du'as, it's got to be beyond that one thing, right? It's got to be beyond the weight. It's got to be beyond, like, what does it mean to you on all aspects of life? Yeah, like that specific fitness category is the casing for your du'a. But at the end of the day, it's like, how does it affect your life as a whole? What are you looking to change for the most part? Because at the end of the day, real change doesn't come unless it's going to be impacting all aspects of your life.
And it's really, inshallah, like asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to transform you through those du'as that lead you to that bigger purpose of, you know, really living with that purpose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us for. Your du'a is just one component into, inshallah, your bigger picture that you want to draw closer to. Bilal, I want to come to health again because I feel like this is such a big one, and this is something I've seen come up a lot. And I actually did an interview with Bilal, I think like 2 years ago, when he had done his mashallah, and you can watch it. It's on Shaykh Muhammad's page, the video. But Bilal did an incredible cycle journey from New York to Montreal. And he didn't even tell my husband and I he showed up here, and he was in my home, he was in my city. But mashallah, he biked here. And that was part of your dream job. So I think, so my question to you, Bilal, a lot of people, when they have health, it's not necessarily concrete. And I know we touched on that in terms of like, what does health look like to you? So do you recommend having like something really tangible? So for you, like that bicycle journey, you knew you wanted to do that strip, you know, that stretch. So do you recommend having that? Like if someone wants to complete an Ironman, or they want to, you know, climb Kilimanjaro, like, is that the, you know, how do you time the vehicle? And what would you say to someone who's maybe like struggling with making it concrete on that?
Sure. I mean, I think it's in this particular dua, it was less about the concreteness, because the concreteness, I mean, the idea and the image of it was very clear in terms of like, hey, I want to go from point A to point B. But but that wasn't even the important thing. The important thing was how crazy and beyond unrealistic at the time when it was proposed, it seemed. The idea, because initially my buddy and I, whom I biked with, and if anybody's interested, I'll share the link later. We documented the whole journey and everything. But we would go regularly several times a year mountain biking, and we moved apart, went down to DC and then later Houston. But when I was in DC, he was just like, hey, you know what? I got into road biking. We should do road biking. And the idea of road biking to me seemed kind of absurd. But I'm like, let's try it, right? And then he's like, let's bike to Montreal. He's the one who proposed it. I'm like, you crazy dude. That's like over 400 miles, bike to Montreal, please. And then he was just like, yeah, let's do it. And like the more it just lingered, the more it was just like, yo, this is crazy, but it's also awesome. And then, you know, that's when we were just like, all right, let's see if we could do 100 miles first, right? Like, it wasn't even a dream dua at that point, right? It was just like, let's just see if we could do 100 miles. And when we attempted the first time we attempted the 100 miles, it was funny because I completed 80 and he did 40. He kind of quit halfway. And, but like that night, like that bug bit us. We're just like, we're going to do this. And it's funny because he felt so bad that he quit half the ride. He follows it up later where he did 100 miles and he sends me a picture of his odometer. And I'm like, all right, I got to beat you now, right? And so I did 2 days back to back, 110, another 35. And then it became just like this friendly competition going back and forth. And at that point, that's when I was just like, yo, this is actually, we could probably actually do this. And it was, now the dream dua itself wasn't to bike to Montreal, right? The dream dua was for me to have the strength and endurance to be able to bike across the nation, right? Generally speaking, and what that entailed visually was for me to do multiple, centuries, which is 100 miles a day, back to back. And if I can do that, then, because at that point I had already done 1 century, I had not done more than one. And so, but with every progress along the way, I had different images in my mind. And at this point in Visionaire, we were still doing milestones. And I had milestones of like, hey, I want to be able to bike around DC and I want to do so-and-so. And then finally, once it like the vision of being able to bike to Montreal became real, I just added that as a dream dua. I'm like, now it's not beyond unrealistic. it's now at this point, it's a stretch. And that's when I kind of included it. And it was interesting because there are elements in both of our lives that just kind of were not working out so that this could happen. And so, yeah. And that's what it was. And I think we just have to be clear about like the idea of being able to bike across the nation. Is that concrete? I mean, if I look at it today, it's not that concrete, but it's not the wording. It's the visual that you have in your mind. And that visual is biking multiple days, city to city. That's clear, right? And so I think that's what it comes down to.
I'd argue that that's concrete, because if you arrive in a location when you're biking, you can take a picture. That's concrete. Like the whole thing's concrete. You know, it's you can document it. If you can document it, it's concrete because you can put it in like a history and in a timeline, you know. So that's what I feel that people are missing in their health duas big time. Like just this, and also I don't know, people like to stick to like general, I want to be healthy, which is, I mean,
of course, that's very vague. It doesn't check off the visionary list, and that's why I brought up his example, because having that Montreal specific, it was definitely concrete in knowing like what that finish line looked like, literally finish line looked like for you. But I think, yeah, for people when they say they just want to lose weight or, they just want to be healthy, like they're very vague. So I feel like for health, inshallah, getting concrete on that is so, like a lot of people are struggling with it. So I hope there's some inspiration they can draw from.
You can take the angle that the Sheikh mentioned in session 2, which is what's not working. For example, my dream dua for my health is to squat 300 pounds. Why? Because I can't get past 100 pounds without my knees really hurting, because I've injured them in the past. I used to weigh over 300 pounds and that hurts the knees. It wears them down. And I also have an issue with my back for the same reason. So my goal is to not hurt from my knees and my back anymore, but that's not exciting. What's exciting to me is being able to squat those 300 pounds. And watching people do it, watching women in my height and in my frame do it, that's extremely exciting to me. So I recommend looking outside of yourself also for inspiration elsewhere.
Nice.
Yeah, I also want to add to this as well. I think there was a few conversations about this in the group. And one of the sisters wrote about doing a marathon, but it wasn't really what she wanted to do. And I think when we're in a group like this, some people have these huge goals like marathon and biking. I could definitely not do a marathon, and I could definitely not bike across the country like that. So you need to make it apply to you and what excites you. I'll tell you what excites me. If I could plank for 10 minutes, that would be like a really big achievement. It might not sound that exciting to somebody else, but I think that's fine. You know, it's your own world. Make it like, make it excitement for yourself. Then another thing as well, some of the sisters wrote that they want to lose weight or be slim or be fit and healthy, and they'll just know by looking at themselves. And for this one, my recommendation is if you want to be a particular size, then get a dress and be the size that you want and aim to get in that dress, because that makes it like more concrete in the sense that you want to fit into something. It doesn't have to be something huge like a marathon, for example, but if it's what you want and that's what you want to achieve, then do it, but add something to it. Like Louisiana just said about the squats. Like I said, plank for me. When I lost the weight, I actually had an outfit and I was like, I have to get into that outfit. Alhamdulillah, I lost so much weight that I then had to get the outfit adjusted and made smaller. So like give yourself those kind of targets. I think, and then after that, your dream duas become bigger. Like you can't just jump to doing the big thing. You have to have these steps and goals, especially with fitness. So it might be better to have the milestone duas in this sense. I think that's my advice on the fitness.
For like the holistic relationship coaching, wants to jump in, because I feel like for women, there's this component of like they might achieve that goal, but I feel like a lot of women struggle with the self-compassion. So even if they get to that size or they achieve that goal, there's still so much healing that needs to be done. And so I would say, like, please do, for women listening to this, add that component of your dua where like, ya Allah, allow me to just honor my body and allow me to, honor and be at peace in this vessel that you've given me. Because I feel like we're so hard on ourselves. And even if you achieve these goals, like women are just constantly badgering. And obviously, like we can't deny it, right? We live in a society where that's the consumer message we're getting. So So I feel like that's a really important component to health, inshallah, is making sure that even if you achieve that goal, inshallah, that you're not still just sitting there constantly hating on yourself. Like, that's so key.
Let me add 30 seconds to that. I just want to be very, very like frank with people. My original health dua, I just switched it last night. My original health dua was just to have a tummy tuck, because like I said, I used to be really heavy, but that's so superficial. It's so superficial. Like, it's not exciting, right? For a woman, that's really, it's like, it's a chore. It's like something you have to do. It's a milestone you may reach when your body reaches a certain state. But what excited me was being able to do something more, much higher, and it not be about my physical appearance. You know what I mean? It's way out. It's not aesthetics anymore. So
people, like, it's exciting. They want the six pack. I mean, like, for sure, go for it, right? But just make sure part of that is also this, you know, healing process too.
I think the issue is people don't just want the six pack. They want the six pack and eat anything they see.
Yes, that's it. Real talk right there, right?
No pain, no gain. So you have to do the work.
If you make a dua like that, Allah might guide you to a person like me, for example, who can help you see food in a different way. And actually, you will be eating what you want to eat, because you'll be making these choices automatically.
Because that zucchini like salad is going to be so delicious that you wouldn't even think about another option.
I had that dua when I was about 300 poundish. Like, it's like, I want to be like this, but I also want to eat what I'd like. And then my vision of my entire understanding of food changed.
Alhamdulillah. There you go, guys. This is it. Like, this is the goal of the session. Like, broaden your horizon, your inspiration. Sometimes it's that mind shift that, you know, has got to occur, and you don't know what spark will hit it. Okay,
Louisiana, I just wanted to say, I mean, your dream dua regarding being able to squat 300 pounds. I mean, you were mentioning how you've already been 300 pounds. You've been able to squat it before.
I know, that's the thing, but my knees are damaged, because then I jogged afterwards and I basically broke them. I had to be in braces for a good 6 months.
Oof, okay.
So, let's have to heal your knees. That's gotta be painful.
You know, I mean, well, part of it, I guess, I mean, one of the things that you could consider is it's one idea to be able to squat, right? It's another idea to be able to push that much weight in general, right? And I'm not saying like, and maybe the squat factor is something that inspires you. And for me, it was being able to deadlift double my body weight. That was one of my du'as.
But I wanted powerlifting. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay.
Bilal, if you want to take this one, someone says, for health dua for cure, yes, Shafi, is that the best one to attach? So is there like a name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that for healing physical health that you've ever used or you would advise?
I mean, I guess you could. I mean, if you're trying to come out of, you know, if you're in a situation where you're sick or something, perhaps. But I mean, the names that I've always kind of stuck with are Al-Qawi and Al-Mateen. And this time around, I actually changed the name, and I'm actually, because my dua is more tournament focused, and I want to bring home a gold, or at least several gold. And the name I felt that was appropriate was Al-Qahhar, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I picked the name that you feel is appropriate to you. And at the same time, does the name itself relate to what you're trying to do, right? So that might be a benefit.
I hope that this got you excited to see people who've been on this journey for, alhamdulillah, quite a few years and keep coming back for, you know, getting that visionary boost, alhamdulillah, and really crafting their life by dua. You've seen it, how it's affected all of them in different ways that, you know, you make dua for, you think one thing, and subhanAllah, how it transforms your life entirely. So I pray that you all get to experience that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us in these last 10 days, and maybe go in strong and pour our hearts out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Keep, you know, make a special dua for our mentors here that joined us and gave of their time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you and your families, you guys. And I look forward to hearing about your journeys as, you know, you continue, mashallah, Bilal, you're a dad now. So I'm excited to see, you know, your visionary duas transform for him and Selma as your career path continues.
You know, what's interesting regarding the visionary dua was, I think a couple of years ago, or maybe almost, it wasn't specifically in the dua, but one of the images that I had, I wonder if I have it here. It was a picture of a dad walking his baby to jiu-jitsu class, right? And it was just like, it was a picture I liked, and I just kept it. And I guess it's one of those things in the back of your mind, as you're making dua for one thing, subconsciously you have another thing pictured, and so, you know, the thing is just coming through.
Alhamdulillah. So, inshallah, and Isra, I hope to see where your next travels are and your adventure. I hope you'll update us, because that's going to be really exciting. And inshallah, we said it, you're going to send us that post when you get to do that 300-pound squat.
I'm posting it. I'm posting the video, guys. That's what I have in my mind.
Let's kind of heal your knees and make them stronger than ever before.
Ameen.
I just want to say thank you for inviting us on. And as a veteran, I'm really inspired by all the new and veteran students. Like, really, I'm getting loads of inspiration, even from the guys that I've taken Visionaire from the first time. So Jazakallah khair, everyone, for all the posts and the momentum that we've got going on in the group.
All right, guys. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.